Thank you, Professor Gould. And it's a pleasure to be back here. I'd like to extend my appreciation to Kathy for inviting me to this conference. I have rather extensive paper, and there are three things I'd like to address today. The first is the relationship of human security, the mainstream version of human security and policy. And secondly, I've been working on a theory of human security, which I'd like to address. And then third, some illustrations of applying this theory to contemporary events. Start with bird security. We're talking about human security, but there's a lot of things that all living things have in common with humans. In this case, we have a sculpture of two birds, one foraging for food, the other looking out for predators. That's basically the formula for maintaining life in a hostile world. Security, as we know it, has been applied largely to state organizations. We talk about national security, state security, as if the state itself is the object of securitization. And so here we have some examples of how the term security has been used. Human security is welcome because it broadens the concept from merely protecting the state to getting back to humans. I want to take this a bit further and look at the essence of security, what I call PLPD. What is PLPD? It is to prolong life and postpone death. So we're talking about PLPD, that human life is really the essence of security. There are three paradigms, at least three paradigms, of state-centric human security policy as has been applied in the past decade or so. The first one is the well-known UNDP version of human security, which I see as bureaucratic. China's state-centric, very state-centric version of human security, and Mongolia, which has been applying human security as part of its defense and security concept. The first paradigm, the bureaucratic one, has been promulgated and documented as 7 forms or 7 versions of security, which are listed here. The second paradigm is state-centric, that the Chinese have been putting together a nation-state based on sovereignty, based on a kind of 19th century version of the nation-state, and are reluctant to democratize, to disperse, or to share state power with organizations. I was talking with a number of Chinese representatives of NGOs, and consistently they would remind me that NGOs are basically government organizations. There is some change to this, there is some loosening up, but basically the Chinese version of human security is state-centered. Mongolia has been moving a bit more in the direction of a partnership of society and state. In their concept of human security, of national defense, they have involved the public opinion, the media, civil society, and so forth as partners in formulating human security policy. It is a developing country, and it sees development and human security as two sides of the same coin. So, in summary, I think that the mainstream approaches to human security have been state-centric. The bureaucratic paradigm, the statist paradigm, even the democratic paradigm have included the state as the key to understanding. So that is the first part. And when I was writing my book on China and human security, this really struck me. And so I wanted to broaden the concept of human security. So I'm currently writing a book on Mongolia, Russia, and China, applying human security concepts, and therefore I've come up with something broader, which I call anthropocentric security theory, called AS for short, so we don't have these polysyllabic problems. First off, what about society? Human security takes civil society as a very critical part of its scope of operation. But there are limitations to the way that civil society has been formulated. These are usually organizations such as registered charities, non-government NGOs, community groups, and so forth. But the essence, and this goes back to Hobbes, whom I regard as the grandfather of human security. Go back to Hobbes and talks about organizations which have been formed, which have been instituted. That is, they have a beginning. But there's a much broader part of society which has not been addressed. And this is what I call organic society. This is the anthropocentric society. It's evolved behavior out of responses to human needs, and these have produced security organs which have been critical in maintaining human life, that is PLPD, prolonged life and postponed death. Things like the family, the market, self-defense, practical knowledge, learning, individual property, altruism, and religion. These have evolved in the human experience. And so this is different from civil society, which is much more amenable to state control and state management. So there's this realm which, again, gets us back to bird security, that is animal security. We are bio-rational creatures. We have evolved various organs to prolong our lives, and I have identified these as critical. Another aspect of AS theory is that it makes the distinction between protectors and protectees. That is, it is not a system, but it's actual human beings who occupy positions of protection for other individuals. Protectees are individuals who consume more security resources than they create. So there's a two-level system here, or two-level approach to society. So security is also time-bound. That is, it's a function of all threats and inputs to it at a given moment in historical time. There's no such thing as permanent security. Security is always tentative. It is always based on the parameters of security resources at any given time. And just for the sake of argument, I've set up two kinds of dimensions. That is, there's a common calendar, and then there's the individual human life calendar that are taken into consideration. In my study of human security in China, the development of the Chinese state, I discovered that there are three levels of protection, three levels of security: individual protections, organic protections, and institutional protections. And here we have more detail on this. Looking at security inputs, again, this is drawn from my earlier work. Looking at the human individual as a bio-rational creature, there are these inputs: human will, the family, practical knowledge, and natural environment. This is man in the state of nature who can survive, prolong life, and postpone death. So there is this these functions, this set of functions. Society also provides protections for individuals. and I have attempted to identify what these are in Formula 2. And so here we have, it includes the individual level added to society. So the man in a natural condition acquires these additional protections by going into society, by becoming a member of society. And then in Formula 3, where the state comes in, and the state is the most recent historical development in human security. It includes the individual, society, plus these things. And here I draw from Thomas Hobbes in his Leviathan, that, if you recall, Poli-Sci 101. In the state of nature, man lives in the situation that is, his life is short, nasty, and brutish, or as some would say, short, nasty, and British. But the state provides protections, but it requires a surrender of the right of self-defense. And I think this is not entirely correct, because humans still retain certain organs, certain will. That is the protections of Formula 1 and 2. Okay, I have to go to PowerPoint here. To illustrate what I've just said, okay, this is a summary of AS theory, anthropocentric security theory. Begin with the individual who has natural rights, motivations, and has competence of self-defense. Individuals create society by expanding the family experience, creating society. And society has outputs, has security organs, which protect the individual. And the individuals create and participate in society. And then the third level, the state, consists of security institutions. Now the inputs, I've identified 15 inputs to human protection. The output is PLPD, that is keeping humans alive. That's the whole nature of the game is to preserve life, is to protect life. And so the state is a construction of humans, but it provides protections for individuals. So the difference between mainstream human security and what I'm attempting in AS theory is to bring back the focus to the individual, to the human individual, to emphasize and to reiterate that security comes from the individual and comes back to the individual. It's a very Hobbesian kind of notion, but I think it works, as I'll try to demonstrate here. I didn't get these on PowerPoint, so I have to bear with me. Just playing around with primitive human security. I looked at Robinson Crusoe. He's man in the state of nature. He's only responsible for himself. And then you take a peasant from any place, ancient Egypt, China, and he is responsible for himself and for his family. So his inputs of human security and his responsibilities are graphed here in two dimensions. That is, his competence, his ability to provide security, and also his security status. That is, to what extent do other people trust him to provide security. So this is a kind of Cartesian view of security. Two dimensions here. The third dimension, of course, is time. This is only good for maybe 1 year, 2 years. The situation, the parameters change. And then I put the farmer into a tribe, and this hypothetical chief of the tribe has a security competence of 100. He beats 100 men or 100 people. And there's a raid, he loses 20, so his competence decreases because he's lost some of his warriors. His status has decreased, and so his security position has been diminished. So anyhow, this is a way of trying to signify in graphic terms what is human security, or what is anthropocentric theory. On this next slide, can we have such a thing as an AS index? And what I've done here is look at the populations of a number of countries, and through the internet I've found the median age multiplied by the population in millions, and I get a security index, very high for China, very low for Mongolia. Looking at that in graphic terms, it comes out this way. So in terms of security index, China is very high because of the large population, a population that is living or has a high median age, which means that people are surviving. That the security organs, the security institutions are working, they are operational, and they produce a very high security index for a very large number of people. These are very rough parameters, but to give a sense of that we can do comparisons and that we can quantify security. Again, just exploring the possibilities of this approach, I looked at the fate of the Republic of China from 1945 to 1950. And I postulated John Jesher, head of the Republic of China on the mainland. He had very high security status, very high competence, and then the revolution came along, and John Jesher was reduced to the leader of Taiwan, which was a severe diminishing of his security competence, obviously, and also of his security status. I just use this as an illustration of some of the possible applications of this anthropocentric theory of security. This approach to human security came to me when I was wondering, why do people live so long now, whereas in primitive times or in primitive societies, their life expectancy is comparatively lower. And as society has become more effective, as states have become more effective, our life expectancies have likewise become longer. And we can see this from 10,000 BC. These are numbers I got off the internet. Approximate population, 6 million people. Life expectancy was about 20 years. And so the security index, the global security index, 6 times 20 is 120. Things improve by year 0. And much larger population. Life expectancy has increased somewhat, and so the security index has gone up. So about the turn of the millennium, we have a population which is over 1,000 times greater than 10,000 BC. Life expectancy has nearly tripled, and so we have this huge global security index. So what I'm saying, or what I what I'm implying, no, I'm more than implying, is that security can be quantified, that we can have something that resembles an index of where we stand. And then, of course, this can be broken down into much smaller sectors of population. I also explore the feasibility of having security maps. I look at China. Again, remember, security is time-bound. So this is roughly 1954. China is being securitized. It is a state that is being securitized. It's positive on the x-axis and positive on the vertical axis. Russia, an ally, has negative security status. That is, the Chinese and Russians really don't trust each other that much, but nonetheless, there's a security competence that is available to China. The USA, as the enemy of China, is negative in both dimensions. Taiwan is positive as a potential addition to the security resources of China, but negative in terms of, is positive in terms of status, that is the expectancy of using Taiwan's resources. But in terms of competence, it's in the enemy half of this thing. So what I'm doing here is merely illustrating that it could be possible to use AS theory to map security situations, or to map the potential status and competence of nation states using this kind of approach. And finally, just to wrap up this little travelogue of human security, I began by saying that mainstream human security is state-centered, and incomplete. That is, it leaves out the bird security dimension of human life, cooperation, of our natural inclinations to stay alive, and other things. Secondly, I hope that I established that the ultimate test of security is preservation of human life, and stated in 4 words: to prolong life and postpone death. Fourth, AS theory identifies 15 inputs to PLPD. So it's like Robert Easton's little black box. The inputs are these 15 3-layered security inputs, and the output is to do this. Finally, AS theory and I hope that AS theory and the 3-dimensional Cartesian grid will enable will demonstrate that security has this quantifiable character. It can be measured and managed by individual societies and states. Anyhow, this is a work in progress, and I find it tremendously exciting to be able to at least visualize that we don't have to deal merely qualitatively with human security. That in fact, demographic and statistical tables provide a clue of what is the state of human security. That going back to the human individual, which really is the essence of human security, can give us some different directions, some different perspectives on this. I hope I'm being myself. Thank you.
Thank you.